It's called sweat equity.
Listening to the Sweat Equity Podcast.
Good to go.
Is that your assistant?
Randomly, apparently it's all Reddingers today. My kids decided they wanted to join in and be producers, so I got both of them sitting here. You guys
Heck yeah.
clearly said you didn't want to be on camera. Now they're about to knock everything over trying to get on camera. Are you trying to say hi to your cousin?
That's awesome.
Don't worry about caps
Do you want
lock.
my background?
No, looks great.
You want me to
Looks
change
great.
My background?
Nope, you're good. Looks great.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So we'll just get right into it. It's a very special episode of a podcast. There's going to be changes to the podcast. Nothing crazy. Law's still alive. But there will be some. I don't want to say much more than that. I'm just teasing it out. But what better way to kind of make a transition to do a familial podcast? First thing I'd like to do, though, is a lightning round questions. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the podcast before, but we like to throw some things out there, get a gauge of what's going on. What time do you wake up in the morning?
This morning or every morning?
Every morning. On average, you know?
6:30 to 7. This morning was about 5:30. Just ready to get going.
Okay. So if you're putting on a movie that you want a guaranteed laugh, what movie are you putting on?
Oh man, anything Adam Sandler. That's going to be to the top. Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison.
Okay. Sounds about right. Checks out. That's a Redinger answer. How about a cry? Guaranteed cry movie.
Field of Dreams comes to mind.
Wow. You are related to us.
I don't know. Sleepless in Seattle. I mean, we get a little romantic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This guy, God. What do you think about him?
Say it again.
God. What do you think about God?
Oh boy. Well, I always say dog speed, baby. I don't know. I think it's different for everyone, and for me, it's not traditional. If that makes sense.
Your view is not traditional.
Correct. My view of God is not traditional.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'd say. I mean, you know, I could kind of agree with that for myself. Have you ever seen anything supernatural, a UFO, a ghost, anything cool?
I haven't personally, but a buddy of mine who's like one of my besties saw a blue orb one time, and I really am like, holy mackerel.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm going with his answer on that. I'm wanting to believe.
It's happening more and more. I mean, I pretty much made a branch off podcast just talking about that stuff. But
No shit. Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
So we're talking to Red Redinger, who normally Law gets lazy and makes the guest do the plugs, but your family, so I'll do it for you. But I came across you on LinkedIn. Our last name is not common at all. And I was like, okay, let's see what's up with this guy. You know, I saw you had a business, whatever, reached out, connected. I was like, oh, you know, why don't you come on the podcast as blind? Let's see what happens. Like, if you're family, you'll be fine with it, you know? So, yeah, it's been a couple delays now at this point, but, you know, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know if you got to listen to the show before about the what advice you would give your 13-year-old self question that we do. I'd like to modify it.
Yeah.
Where you're like on a trolley or something somewhat slow, but you're moving past your 13-year-old self. You got about 5 to 10 seconds to kind of yell something at your 13-year-old self. You got to kind of make it stick, knowing your 13-year-old self. Got to get their attention. You don't get to tell them it's you. It's me from the future. You don't get to do that. But you get to tell yourself one thing as you're rolling by. What would that be?
Don't go with the flow. Swim upstream. Do something different. Be who you are. I mean, it's definitely look deeper. Take the road less traveled. It's going to be all in that same vein that it's being normal is overrated. I'd say it's yeah. You'll find out that you're not like the others eventually. So the sooner you do, the better.
It's very that answer hits home. It sounds familiar. So what direction you want to go in? Do you want to talk about preem? Do you want to talk about ultra marathons? Because I could get into that, but I'd like to get you a little bit of a plug before we get too far into the other fun stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to give my sister and Preen a shout out. I just began a role in the business development, which actually is morphed into the director of client services, which is a little bit more hands-on, polished about current clients and then also future clients, prospective clients. We are a architecture and design studio based in LA, and we specialize in restaurants / bars / interesting creative spaces. We make beautiful, immersive, one of a kind, bespoke design. So it's basically like anything inside a spot to the exterior, but really down to the furniture, the colors, the textures, the lighting. Just about everything. We're award-winning, international, yada yada, etc.
That's awesome.
It's cool.
I mean, director of client services for a restaurant. I mean, that sounds like a badass job. I mean, how are you doing? Fixing client problems, or do you get to expense account, woo the clients, keep them happy on that end? Because that would be awesome for you.
Yes, a little of everything, honestly. It's my older sister's firm. She's been the principal and founder since 2005, and she's a creative. I went to school for finance and economics. I've been in sales for the last 8 years. So my role is to reduce her stress, and however that looks, I'm the nice guy, the mean guy, whichever guy you need me to be. I'm that person. But overall, we want what's best for our clients. We want to make something awesome. We want to see them in business for years and years and years. And that's the big part of it is atmosphere, experience, and just having a place that people really want to go back to. So yeah, it's a little of everything. It's
That's
great.
Awesome.
I love to eat.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a real fun
that's a
job.
Redinger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. Do you have any clients that are like stand out that you're really proud of?
Yeah. So actually, I forgot which publication just did this, but the best fast casual in America is Howl and Ray's. And that's their first one was in Chinatown, LA, and it's basically Nashville chicken. So it's like hot chicken sandwiches. We did their second one in Pasadena, and it's phenomenal. So yeah, Howl and Ray's. It's a cool. Fast casual restaurant, but it is fire. So if you ever get out to LA, holler at me.
Oh, I got a feeling these kids are gonna make me take them out there just for the number one fast casual restaurant in America.
In America,
it's family, kind of. They're over it. They're like, when can we leave? Nah, you're good. So yeah, I mean that's really cool. That's an awesome job. Really happy for you. But I was like, man, what if it was really boring? But that sounds awesome. Don't want to have to drag it out of you like we do some guests. So ultra marathons.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? I mean, it sounds crazy. I feel you. Like I used to do. Longest I ever did was a half marathon.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I get it, sort of thing. And I was like, that's good for me. But yeah, I want to hear about that sort of journey. What are you guys doing? Pay attention.
I mean, running is one of the most boring things you can do, right? Like there's not a ball to chase. There's not anything. So
right.
personally, I hated running. Like everybody, tends to be a kind of a common statement by runners, is that they never really liked running originally. And I think what brought it all together was I was early 20s, and I have an uncle who's he's now at like over 400 marathons.
Holy cow.
When I had, he came to Texas to run the Dallas White Rock Marathon way back when, I'm like thinking about it and literally being like, this guy did that. But he was in a group called the 50 States Marathon Club with the intention to run one marathon in every state. And something about the travel aspect, the goal, like it's not 6.2 miles, but you're doing it times 50. And then each time you're getting a new location. I remember being in elementary school and looking at the map on the wall and being like, man, I want to go to every one of those states and just see what they're like. Like, what's the difference? Like, what's so cool about Michigan, you know? So fast forward to my college days, and I'm like, man, if this 55-year-old dude can do this, I think I can do it, you know? So he kind of like made something so immense and high level and next level really seemed to be achievable from my perspective. And then it was literally a self like dare. Actually, it was a literal dare from my roommate to see if we could do the half marathon in our hometown. And it was like 2 weeks in advance. And I was like, well, I'll try.
Nice.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Oh, okay. Were you running at all before that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
pretty awesome.
Jumping fences. I think I did 2 6-mile runs before my 13 mile.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So, kept a 9-minute mile pace. I think I came in right at 2 hours.
Dude, I mean, it's for not running at all. It's awesome.
I was just trying to hang on with everybody else there. You know what I mean? You just don't know what you're doing until like you're hurting. And I was definitely hurting like afterwards. That feeling of after the finish of my first 13 miler, half marathon, and the finish of my first 100 miler, the pain were about the same.
Really?
Or not.
I mean, it is
Wow.
such a weird thing because, they've done, what's the guy, Dean Karnazes?
Karnazes. I read that book.
He's they looked at him and they're like, if he keeps eating and drinking water, like effectively he could run forever. Like, I don't know about sleeping. That's who knows about the sleeping part, but like, they're like physically he should be able to just go forever. And he tries. I mean, it sounds like you're getting there too, but, that's what's great. Can you not audibly yawn at the podcast, please?
God, come on.
He's over there.
Don't yawn into the mic, at least.
I mean, I know the mic's off. I could feel it though. Yeah, it's two old guys talking about running really far. I get it. All right.
Yeah, we already admitted it's boring.
Yeah.
Geez, come on.
I mean, but still, I want to know more about it. So, for one thing, the goal aspect resonates for me. Like, that was always something like I always like to have that goal in the future. That's coming up. Prepare for that, and that was always motivating for me. But to get, I don't want to fill in the story for you, but you must have been like, okay, do a marathon in every state. What's next? What's the step up from a marathon? How far did you go?
Yeah, that's what's crazy. So I probably got 5 or 6 marathons in, and then someone told me about trail running, and it's different. It's in the woods, it's on dirt, like it's just anything that's not road. And that got me. I actually should pause and say I heard about the Hash House Harriers, which is a beer drinking running group first before I heard about trails.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
I just want to make the timeline correct. That I got into beer drinking and running first before I got into trail running. But it's all about the recovery process. But anyway, it must have been 6 or 7, 8 months after my first marathon, before I was like starting into seeing how it would be to run on trails. And then that's where the ultras come in is they usually have like a marathon or a 50K in trails. And that's usually the lowest distance or the shortest distance. And then it's, in addition to the 50K, they have a 50 miler and or a 100K and or a 100-miler happening simultaneously. And you can decide which one you want to do. So the first one that I recollect was October of like 2007, and it was called the Palo Duro.
That is when I ran my first triathlon. Swear to God. I was like, don't say 2007, bro. And that's, yes. Is that right?
What year were you born, Eric?
Hold on a second. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I was just looking for a synchronicity. I was born in 83. I'm 40.
Same.
Okay. All right. That didn't
So it could
that.
be, there's our.
We'll do the family tree part after the running part.
Okay, cool.
I do want to figure it out.
I know.
Okay, so
But,
so wait, those were all those distances you laid out just now. Those were all on trails?
Yeah, so those are that. I mean, it's just the way that race organizations put it on. They're like, "Yo, we'll have the shorter distance, a 50K option. We'll throw out a 50-mile option, which is usually just a second, third loop, fourth
Right.
loop." So then they already have these aid stations set up, and so it's like, yeah, bring your kids. They can do the 50K while you're out there doing the 50-mile, or whatever. It's just so that they can appease all distances and all people. But that first one in Palo Duro, which is a state park in the Panhandle of Texas, our start was 6:30, and they had a 50-miler start at 6 a.m. And I'm like, shit. And it's always this like question. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about these distance races or achieving anything is asking yourself, can I do this?
Yeah.
And so,
am I going to get lapped by the people who started before me?
No kidding. And usually the answer is yes by the front runners.
or the people who, exactly. The people who started after you that are like catching up.
We call them FRBs. FRB is a front running bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're motivating. I'll give it. I'm like, oh,
sorry, I didn't know if profanity was allowed on this podcast.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to your
Nah,
child.
he's fine.
Okay.
He's sleeping. No, he's awake.
Yeah, he's already gone.
Nah, he's chilling.
So anyway, yeah, that was my first attempt was a 50K, and it went great. I mean, you're out there and the sun's rising, and you're just like a kid. You're just out there enjoying the day, and you got to watch out for rocks and roots and different things. And as opposed to road race where you're there's a mile marker every mile, and it's flat or it's it's just smooth, and it's all about speed. And I have my watch on, and I'm clicking off the miles. But on the trails, there's no mile markers. You just, before you know it, an hour, 2 hours have just gone by, and you're at the next aid station, and they're handing you peanut butter and jellies or sandwiches or giving you a Coke. Like, the food is much better in an ultra.
Okay.
They give you chips, snacks, candy. Like, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's all about.
You can pretty much eat whatever you want, right?
Calories.
Get it in.
And to be honest, it's really not much more rocket science than that. It was seeing the guys line up at 6 a.m. and we still had 30 minutes, and they were the 50-miler start off, and I'm like, shit, why didn't I sign up for that? And so it only took me probably another month to find another one that was going to be my 50-miler. So
that's cool.
Like, it escalated quickly, as they say, and it still has, to be honest. I ran my furthest distance at the beginning of May, and that was a 250-miler called the Coco Dona.
I was wondering what's the farthest you've gone?
In Arizona. So that was in one, and we call this in one shot. You know what I mean? Like, they have sleep stations along the way, so you can take a nap. You can take a 5-hour nap if you want. You can take a 10-hour nap depending on if you can make the cutoffs. So the cutoffs start to come into play, and so that really reduces the amount of time you can kind of either take time off feet, take your shoes off, whatever you need to do. I finished in just under 85 hours, and I had about four hours of sleep.
Wow!
In that amount of time.
I'm doing that math right now. Holy shit!
It's slow per mile, but like 3 miles an hour.
Dude, yeah, I mean, that's, man.
But it's the long game. It's the aggregate of all that time and lack of sleep.
Yeah.
I was
So
ready to be done.
is it competitive in any way, or is it just straight like everybody wants to just get done, or is there that couple guys that are like, well, I do want to win?
There are, and it's awesome, because if you're at the front and they have their own camaraderie, they have their own
it's a boys club, the winners club, the winners circle.
and they want each other to succeed. They want to push each other, so they have something that me and the mid pack, back and pack, if you want to call it, we just want to have fun and get to know people, meet people, or it actually becomes a suffer fest. Like I've got probably 5 to 8 trail bros and gals that I've met out there just suffering. And,
there's some bonding, some crazy bonding that happens when you suffer physically together. Seriously. I mean, not the same, but like me and my friends have been sick in the same hotel room where it was like everything's coming out of everybody everywhere. We all are now brothers of some kind. I don't know if you want to call it, virus diarrhea, brother. But like, just there's something behind going through the shit with somebody that's just like, all right, well, we always have that,
We will always have that, and it would be a shared experience. You know what I mean? Where you probably held their hair or held their hand.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, God. So for you, like, when between trail running and just running, flat surface, for your brain, what do you feel like helps you better? Because I would imagine it's much more probably meditative being on the flat terrain, just kind of same thing, where it's repetitive. It has its own benefits, and then being out on a trail where you're having to focus on, if you're not paying attention, you break your ankle, sort of thing. And like, to me, there's also like, goodness for your brain with that. So like, I'm curious what you find best.
I can definitely zone out in any terrain. And it becomes really natural. I would say when you're just analyzing the ground and making sure your feet are properly set on a flattish spot, or you're gonna have to tweak your toes up a little bit to step up on that rock and up that hill or whatever you're doing. The road marathons are quite a little bit better because you don't have to be looking down, but you also find yourself looking at, like I did the LA marathon. It was a couple of years now, but that was kind of like my last road marathon I can recall. But it's all like, oh, let me look around and see these different things. So you're definitely distracted, but your brain is always in the back just ticking,
Yeah.
There's always thinking about what you're like, definitely fluctuating back and forth between your pace and your tempo and your heart rate and how you feel.
Right.
But also, what am I going to do later?
Exactly.
Did I call that person, or, did I make plans to meet up after this, or let me take a selfie with this, clown that's in a clown suit running next to me, or, there's always just something interesting going on at a marathon. And then you're looking for signs. People are always holding that sign. It's like, this is the worst parade I've ever been to.
Right.
That's about my favorite one.
Yeah. Or just right at that moment, there's a little kid holding it. You could do it. I was like, I can do it. You know what, little kid? You're right. 14 more miles.
Don't poop your pants.
Yeah. I mean, how often? So, I mean, when you're running an ultra marathon, how often do you got to go? And I mean, I'm sure you've got it down to a science where you know exactly what to eat and when it's coming out.
Seriously, I still eat just whatever, but I have one of those, what do you call them?
Fast metabolism?
Yeah. No, other way around, where I'm like,
okay, so you are a Reddinger.
If I'm not at the house, I'm probably not going to go. You know what I mean? So I like to have my own private space, private time. So I'll be backed up for a couple days, and that's all right, with me out there. I do carry wet wipes, a Ziploc bag, and some toilet paper, though, just not everywhere.
I'm going to clip this part and send it to my dad. He's going to be like, what? He's definitely one of us.
But that's part of being outdoors, and when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah. So I mean, do you get do you take you do 100 miles? Do you do that one shot pretty much no problem at this point.
Yeah, that's my favorite distance. They provide an awesome buckle for every finish, and then or every 100-miler. So you get a cool buckle. You have a really awesome experience. It's usually overnight. I mean, it's always overnight. Sorry, the time cutoffs are in the 26 to 30 hour range. A friend of mine just ran one in Southwest Colorado this past weekend, and they had a 52-hour cutoff. So it started on Friday morning as opposed to Saturday morning, but it was all vert. Basically, you're going up and down.
Oh man.
So, but that one I wouldn't recommend to anybody.
Plus, just the air. That's a whole different ball. Like, dude, that's just like crazy.
Yeah, the weather was nasty. There's always some hail in the mix, you know. It's cold at night, so yeah, your body goes through the ringer on that one. But no, it's my favorite distance definitely because it's achievable, and it's one of those that I love to break it up. I do like basically in tenths. So every time I get to 10 miles, I'm like, all right, 10% done, 20% done, 30% done, and you kind of just go at it like that, and yeah, that is my favorite distance. Some of the other ones, like a marathon, I'm like, damn, I woke up to go run for 4 hours. Like,
yeah, I mean, that one's like, whatever to you now. I mean, like, do you get sleepy? Like, I'm just curious. I'm trying to put myself in the position where it's like, all right, I've been running for 20 hours. Like, I'm still running, but I mean, your brain has got to be just crazy at that point. Like, do you get any crazy, like, changes, like hallucinations, anything?
Yeah, definitely at times, especially if I go into it like that Friday was a busy work week or stressful work week, or I'm not getting enough sleep. That weekend is going to be tough. That's one of the main things is like making sure you get enough sleep going into one. But yeah, I've seen my big hallucination is all the like a stump, like a tree that's cut down or something like that turns into something, usually dead animals. That's a kind of a scary little at this Cocodona in May, I saw there were these boulders, and I was like, are those buffalo? And it was the middle of the day, and I'm like, I think there's buffalo over there, and my pacer was like, those aren't buffalo.
I mean, if you go to I bet if you go to the finish line of one of these things, you'll find everybody must be tripping out coming over that thing, just like insanity. Because I mean, going just that long without sleep, not to mention running the entire time, people must be bonkers.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories about different things they see, and it's at this point, it's like, yeah.
I mean, you talk just them seeing something and thinking it's something else, sort of stuff. Or anything crazier? If there's something crazier, I got to know about that.
No, I wish it was even crazier.
It would be so boring. 100 miles.
Yeah, keep us tight.
Would you guys do something awesome, please?
No, I haven't heard of anything like legendary where you're like, oh, I can't wait to see that one day. But it's the same old story. They just see different shit, and you're like, all right, whatever.
I mean, have you seen anything that's just like a crazy story that would, something that you wouldn't think would happen or anything like that? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've seen people mess themselves, that sort of thing. I'm sure that happens, but I don't know. Attacked by a buffalo.
That's more of a story, like the messing of each other, like the messing of yourself.
Yeah.
Please, I'm so glad the back of the Packers aren't like thinking they can go so fast, because I'm a middle pack runner, maybe a little bit above average than middle, but I'm not at the front. But so we're not, and we're not competing for prize money or anything. So people are a little bit more like reasonable about that. And to be honest, I don't think I have anything to wow you. As far as like scary situations, bear chases or like animal.
Yeah.
Like
no bear chase is fine. All right.
No. Just recently in Montana, there, hailstorms and lightning storms are freaking scary.
I bet hail coming down on. I mean, what's the procedure there? Find an underpass, overpass.
Yeah, get under a tree. Just get next to a tree to have some protection and cover your head, your face. So, yeah, that's fun. But they're pretty quick. You know what I mean? That's how the storms roll in Colorado. They come through. They're there for 15 minutes and then they're off.
Do their damage and they're out.
That scares the shit out of you, so you don't even have to go anymore.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, do we want to try and figure out how we're related?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, we can stick to grandpa's since it's all Redinger.
Where did you? So you're in Florida now. Where did you go? Where did your parents and grandparents come
So
from?
my dad's from Williamstown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And his parents live there too. So like, I didn't know. I was like, give me a list of your grandpa's uncles or something. I forget what I asked him. I have it somewhere. I was like, this should do. This will work. I'll figure it out from here. I'm like,
so
lost the list, by the way.
We're from like my dad's dad, who would be like born in 1908 or something, is from Iowa. And so I mean Iowa and PA are, I guess
it's the same geography.
But we were raised in my dad was raised in Texas, born in 1945. But shit, obviously I was expecting.
I thought this would be easier. Oh, you're my brother.
Yeah, I might.
Now that we're in it, it's probably not as entertaining to everyone as we would hope. But we could figure it out. I'm sure it's it'll be fun for us.
Aren't that many though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh yeah, we gotta make this happen. I mean, I saw Red Redinger. I teach PE. They call me Coach Red. Like it's. Cool. I was like, weirdly enough, the color red. I'm not a huge fan. Do
you say Gur, Redding Gur?
Yeah.
Or Redding Jur?
Gur.
Okay. So, and it's funny, my dad says Reddinger. No, my dad says Redding Jur, and my uncle, his brother, says Redding Gur.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just let it slide. However, because most people give it a soft G, and I'm just like, whatever. You got all the letters. Good for you. I'm here. Put me where I'm supposed to be.
And then you'll have to ask your dad. I know the maiden name of like I don't know. My grandfather's wife was Frey, Frey.
Frey, so got it.
If that
could help, maybe.
Then definitely reach back out and we'll see.
All right, yeah. Next time you come back on, I'll have a nice chart, with all the lines
we had
pointing.
Some type of genealogy thing. I'll have to find out where that's at.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it goes back to Germany.
Right. So, I did know that. So we could start at Germany and go from there. Probably. Yeah. Maybe let's get to America then. Let's skip the German part and then we'll leave the German part out. I don't need to bring that up. My grandpa fought in World War II. Okay, for the Americans. For the record. Totally. Yeah. But yeah, man, this was fun. I'm glad we got to make it happen. I appreciate your time, and
I appreciate you too.
Yeah, I'll keep in touch. We'll figure out how we're related one way or another.
Cool. And if you come out to LA, man, holler at me, and we'll.
I want to see some nice architecture at these restaurants.
And other restaurants, man. We got tons of other ones.
Sounds good, man. All right. Have a good night.
Well, appreciate it. You too. Bye, man.
See ya.